And welcome to Amy Learns to Cook. On the show today, we are going to talk about saute pans. Now, saute pans are one of the most important tools that you will have in the kitchen. And we're going to talk about saute pans in terms of materials and shapes. And I'll give you a few tips on if you're going to buy a new saute pan, what you should look for. Also, I'll answer one of the most frequent messages that I receive. How do I keep my cookware looking brand new? I'll give you my secret today on Amy Learns to Cook. Okay, so saute pans are a workhorse in the kitchen. And one of the distinguishing characteristics of a good saute pan is that it has two handles, because these tend to be a little heavy. So it's going to have one long handle and one looped handle. It'll make lifting it really easy. How these different from just a regular frying pan is that they have straight sides. A frying pan, the sides are at an angle, so you can get a pancake turner in there to turn if you're doing eggs or something like that. A saute pan, the sides are really straight, and it allows for a lot more capacity than a fry pan. Today we're going to be talking about both quality and materials that saute pans are made out of. And they run the spectrum between pans that are really inexpensive and pans that are really, really expensive. And if you haven't bought a decent set of cookware, you don't have any cookware, or you're thinking about upgrading, there's some things that you need to take into consideration before making that purchase. So we're going to go up the scale from lower end saute pans to higher end saute pans, and I'm going to talk to you about the differences between them. Okay, so on sort of the beginner scale of a saute pan is a pan like this. And what distinguishes this pan from other types of saute pans? First and foremost, you notice that there's no helper handle here. There's no looped handle to give you a way to lift it up when it's heavy, when you have a lot of ingredients. This is because this is a very lightweight pan. Okay, so this piece of cookware is made from really inexpensive aluminum. And generally aluminum reacts negatively with foods in that it can discolor foods and give them an off flavor. So they generally coat aluminum with some kind of material. Either they paint it, they wrap it in some other kind of material, or they do what they call hard anodize. And that means that they dip it in a chemical and it makes it non-reactive. It turns it black and it makes it non-reactive. This is a very inexpensive piece of cookware. It's really thin. It has a really thin non-stick coating. But there's a reason I have this. And I generally don't use this on a day-to-day basis. What I bought this for is my RV. One of the first times we ever went camping, I brought out one of my fully clad pieces of stainless, and I put it on the stove inside my RV, and I'm telling you, it took more than 30 minutes for that thing to heat up, because it was way too much pan for the power of that little stove in my RV. So I went out and bought this really expensive cookware, and to be honest with you, a whole set of like 10 pieces of this cookware runs you about $50, and I had a coupon, so I got it for $30. Now, I don't use this anywhere else but when I'm camping. It's great for that. I even throw it in the dishwasher, which is totally against the manufacturer's suggestion. But to be honest with you, it's so cheap that once it gets ruined by the dishwasher, I will just get another set. Sort of the next level of saute pans you will find is really a step up, because this cookware is stainless steel. And what's great about stainless steel is you can throw this in the dishwasher and it comes out absolutely beautiful. If you would not believe, but this pan is over 2 years old and it looks as good as the day I bought it. This is sort of just a mid-level kind of cookware. What makes it distinguish it as mid-level, and this is what will help you recognize these kinds of pans, is the stainless steel. Inside the stainless steel is a disc of aluminum, because stainless steel is a terrible conductor of heat. Aluminum is a lot better conductor of heat. So to give this the properties that we want in cookware, they put aluminum on the inside. This less expensive kind of pan only has aluminum in this disc in the bottom of the pan. This disc is stainless steel, but in here is aluminum. And one of the characteristics you can tell the quality of a piece of cookware is if you look on the bottom of the cookware and you see this right here, this disc is basically bonded to the bottom of the rest of this pan. The rest of this pan is just merely stainless. That's it. There's nothing in the middle of it. Without this disc on it, this would be really light and it would perform pretty terribly, right? So this disc is put on the bottom to improve the performance of the pan. So you will recognize that sort of a mid-level type of cookware is a cookware that has this type of configuration. Now, I will show you some of the highest end cookware that I have, and you will notice that it has a disc bottom, and I will tell you why. But this here is a Belgique. It's the house brand of Macy's. It is a lot more expensive than this being like $50 for an entire set. An entire set of this is about $150. And I would say that you're going to invest in some cookware. This is an excellent step up if this is what you're coming from. If you don't have any cookware at all, I would tell you to bypass this and go straight to sort of a mid-level type cookware. It has a really nice lid with the, some people like lids with glass. The problem is you can't put this in the oven as hot. You can put the pan in the oven fairly hot. This will only go in the oven up to like maybe 350 of that. So that's one drawback of having the lid with glass. But if you don't mind that and you aren't going to put it in the oven too much, it really makes it great because you can see what you're cooking. Okay, the next sort of level of saute pans is what we call a pan that is fully clad. And what that means is, like I showed you before, look at the bottom. There's no disc on the bottom. It's one entire piece all the way up. This is how you can tell that a piece of stainless steel cookware starts out as a sheet of metal that is stainless, aluminum, and stainless. And then it's molded into this shape. So you won't see a base like that at the bottom. This is what is ideal, because this you have full heat conductivity through the entire pan, and you don't risk the disc at the bottom separating from the rest of the pan and the danger of that. That happens very rarely, but it is a possibility that if you get your cookware too hot, or say you forget it on the stove or something like that, the disc could separate from the bottom. So ideally, this is what you're shooting for. It is a lot more expensive. This is a brand from Williams-Sonoma. It's called L'Augustina. It is one of my favorite brands of stainless steel cookware. It is not the most expensive fully clad cookware. A set like this is probably in the $400 range, but it is a lot more expensive than the other two we just talked about. Definitely worth the money, though, if you are in a position to really invest in some good cookware. Has a stainless steel lid. You can throw this in the oven pretty much as hot as you want it. You can throw it up to 450. Disadvantage is it doesn't have the see-through lid, but it definitely will outperform the other. It has a handle on this side and a long handle on this side, so it's very well balanced. And this right here will take your cooking to a whole nother level. This pan here throws out the whole thing that I just said about disc bottom pans not being as good quality as fully clad tri-ply pans. This pan is from DeMeyer. It is a disc bottom pan that is, you see the disc there. This disc, however, is a 7-ply disc with aluminum, copper, and stainless steel. And a lot of people believe that they would rather invest in very high quality materials and put it really thick on the bottom because that's where your heat source is. And particularly in a saute pan, you don't necessarily need it to be fully clad because the power is in the bottom, right? This pan performs unbelievably well. I've had this pan for about 6 years, and it looks as good today as it did the day I bought it. What's great about this pan is the handles are riveted on, right? But the rivets are within the inside, so there's no rivets here. So there's no chance that you will get any contamination like you would on other types of pans with rivets. You definitely want something that's riveted, but this one, they're concealed in the layers, so it makes it a lot better. This pan here is at the top of the price for saute pans. This one pan here is about $325 for just this one piece. If you are investing in cookware and want to develop a collection, it's best to buy your pieces individually and get the best quality pieces you can get. So if you are sort of in it for the long haul, investing in a piece like this as you go along would be the best option in terms of improving your cookware collection. It has a stainless steel lid. It can go in the oven pretty much as hot as your oven will go. And this right here is like the best that you can get. Next, we sort of have some fun variations on things that you can find in saute pans. This is just a regular saute pan. It's like a 4-quart, I believe. It's an all-clad. It's a fully clad pan. It performs beautifully. This is like one of my favorites. It has a dome lid. These come in a regular lid, but this one in particular has a dome lid. So that makes it kind of fun from your regular saute pan. So this is a cute little saute pan. It's a 2-quart all-clad saute pan. It is the cutest thing I've ever seen, right? It is fully clad. There's no disc on the bottom. I really like this pan because it has a nice long handle. It doesn't really need a handle on this side because it's not that heavy. Has a stainless steel lid. It can go in the oven or on the stove top. Small, you use it for small things like onions, or if you want to do some saute something small for fajitas, maybe bell peppers and onions, something like that. This would be great for. And last but not least is a saute pan that is non-stick. And this is a non-stick pan. It's a Circulon. I really don't use these that much because I really like to put stuff in the dishwasher. I've got this thing, this germ thing going on. and I really want my pans to be sanitized. I also, frankly, don't feel like washing them by hand. So for me, I use this occasionally for hash browns or something like that, because in a stainless steel pan, hash browns can really stick to the bottom, right? This one is an anodized aluminum pan. Like I said before, it is aluminum. It would react with your food, but it's dipped in some kind of chemical that turns it hard and makes it non-reactive. So it will not react with your food like raw aluminum will. It has a lid on it with the glass. You really don't want to put this into the oven because nonstick gives off some kind of fumes when you overheat it. So I wouldn't really put this into the oven. So now that you know a little bit about saute pans, the question is that most people ask me is, how do I keep my saute pans looking like this? Because as you know, over time, you will develop on raw stainless steel, you will develop staining on it. It will get a rainbow effect, it will have blue, it will get pitted, stuff will stick on it, and you'll get black, crusty residue in here and all this. And first and foremost, you know, I am a germaphobe, and I like my stuff very well sanitized. So I have to get these things really clean in order for me to feel comfortable using them. So I'll let you in on a little secret. No, as some people have asked me, I do not buy new pans for every show and every cook-off that I do. I use the good stuff. Some people, after they're done with their pan, heat it on the stove and it will loosen stuff that's in it, and that does help. Really, to get this super clean, you need to bring out the big guns. So let me show you what my big guns are that keeps my cookware looking like this. So this is my secret weapon. It's very simple, and there's nothing really secret about it. I use these vinyl gloves because I don't play around with, you know, boiling water or vinegar or all that. It might help, but I want to bring out the big guns because I really don't have time to play around. And the big guns for me is this. And everybody sees this all over the internet, and I can testify that this works 100%. This is how I keep my cookware looking brand new. I scrub it with this Barkeeper's Friend, and I use a sponge, one of these blue sponges that are non-scratch sponges, and this is all that I use, and it keeps my cookware looking like this. This is not brand new. This piece of cookware is over 5 years old, and this is all I use to get my cookware looking like this. I scrub it every single time, and then I throw it in the dishwasher, and it comes out beautifully shiny. It gets rid of all the rainbows. It gets rid of all the black pits. It gets rid of everything. It even cleans the bottom. You wouldn't even believe that this piece of cookware has been in use every week for the last 5 years, and the bottom of it looks like that. It looks like that because of this. So that's my secret. I clean my cookware with a little Barkeeper's Friend and a blue scrubby sponge, and your cookware will look beautiful for years. If you like this video, please go ahead and hit like down below and subscribe, because there's more videos on the way. Visit my website at amylearnstocook.com or on Twitter at twitter.com/amylearnstocook. And welcome to Amy Learns to Cook. On the show today, we are going to talk about saute pans. Now, saute pans are one of the most important tools that you will have in the kitchen. And we're going to talk about saute pans in terms of materials and shapes, And I'll give you a few tips on if you're going to buy a new saute pan, what you should look for. Also, I'll answer one of the most frequent messages that I receive. How do I keep my cookware looking brand new? I'll give you my secret today on Amy Learns to Cook. Okay, so saute pans are a workhorse in the kitchen. And one of the distinguishing characteristics of a good saute pan, is that it has two handles, because these tend to be a little heavy. So it's going to have one long handle and one looped handle that'll make lifting it really easy. How these different from just a regular frying pan is that they have straight sides. A frying pan, the sides are at an angle, so you can get a pancake turner in there to turn if you're doing eggs or something like that. A saute pan, the sides are really straight, and it allows for a lot more capacity than a fry pan. Today we're going to be talking about both quality and materials that saute pans are made out of. And they run the spectrum between